Why, hello everybody, it's Emma here, the Bookish Princess. Happy June! It's the first day of the month, so happy month. Today I've got a new bookish video for you. I'm going to be wrapping up what I read in the month of May and giving you a glimpse of what I'm planning to read in the month of June. I'm gonna jump right into this. So one book that I've been sort of picking away at is The Letters of Edith Wharton. It's edited by R.W.B. Lewis and Nancy Lewis. So this book has been lingering in my bookish videos for a while now because I've been meaning to start it. My mom read it and really enjoyed it. I'm not a huge fan of Edith Wharton, but I thought maybe it'd be fun to come at her through her letters. I just had a hard time starting on it. I think maybe because it is such a chunky book. We just picked this up at a used book sale somewhere. I did, however, get into it this month and I definitely enjoyed reading it. I have a feeling though this is probably going to be something that I pick up and read at intervals like for months to come, because I definitely do that with books. So I feel like I found the perfect two quotes to kind of give you a taste of Edith Wharton's letters and help you decide, like, do I want to read this or not? So here's a opening of one of her letters. Dear Sally, yes, München actually, although I can hardly believe it. When Teddy arrived a month ago with his sister, I hoped he would take me off on a motor dash, for I was really stale from over Paris. Over Paris. München is, of course, the city of Munich in Germany. And here's a sample postscript of one of her letters. Do write me a little line, Care Monroe and Company, 7 Rue Scribe, to tell me all about yourself. Affectionately yours, Edith Wharton. P.S. I have also consumed several quarts of tea with Princess Bertinsky. And how can you not love letters that begin and end like that? Edith Wharton is constantly dashing off across the Atlantic and visiting Paris and Rome. She's writing at one point I think it's like a decorative arts kind of book about houses in Italy. And so you hear about how she has to make this long, arduous trek out to get to these different villas and how she has to maybe know someone just to get inside the villas. And it's really interesting. It is very literary. You hear all about the different books Edith Wharton is writing and reading, and she's close friends with Henry James, so you definitely get a cool look at Henry James. She's very witty, she's very funny. She describes all sorts of interesting things, like I think they were in, I'm pretty sure, Paris when the first airplane went over the city. Like, I think basically the first airplane ever. Lots of things like that. Lots of really good writing and really good insights. Rather scandalous. There are letters in here from, I think Morton Fullerton was his name. Edith Wharton was having an affair with this man, and I guess for a long time during her life, people like suspected a connection between them, but like they didn't know. Edith Wharton wrote this Fullerton lots of letters, and they're good letters, but she wanted them back. There are multiple times in her letters where she's asking him to send them back because she's saying that she hates how inanimate things outlive their usefulness or something like that. Obviously didn't want those letters to get out, and the guy never sent them. I think they eventually popped up at some book dealer in Paris after Edith Wharton and the guy had died. But anyway, this though I don't think is her complete letters. Yeah, more than 4,000 letters that have survived, and there are approximately 400 in this volume, which is still, as you can tell, plenty of letters, so I'll be taking my time with this, but I am enjoying it. I hate my hair today. Speaking of letters, here's a book I'm looking forward to starting. It's called A Life in Letters by P.G. Wodehouse. So this is P.G. Wodehouse's letters. I love P.G. Wodehouse's books and novels, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting into this. My friend Kate Howe actually passed this book along to me. Kate and I met up last month to check out a mystery exhibit at this cool library. I did a vlog from that, so I will link it up here. I've never actually sat down and read his letters. I've come across them in little bits and pieces, but definitely looking forward to checking this out. Speaking of that fun bookish adventure with Kate, one of the things we did was stop by a used bookshop. It was a really weird used bookshop because now used bookshops are always like a little weird, like you find unexpected things there, but this one kind of took it to a whole new level because we recognized almost none of the titles. Like it seemed like a truly like nobody really wanted these poor books kind of bookshop, but There was one Persephone book. It's Reuben Sachs by Amy Levy. It was $3. It's like, I can't pass up a Persephone book for $3. I wasn't expecting great things just because of the company this book was in at the bookstore, but I really enjoyed it. It was pretty short. It's set in London. So this Amy Levy, she lived 1861 to 89. She unfortunately took her own life early, so we don't have a whole lot of different books by her. The book flap describes this as both a feminist plea and a satire on the materialism of late Victorian Jews, much praised by Oscar Wilde. This definitely had a sort of Jane Austen kind of vibe to me, just in her approach, the way she kind of gets inside this little society and inside the drawing rooms and inside the heads and hearts, definitely looking at their follies and nonsense, whims and inconsistencies. Now in Jane Austen's novels, I feel like she's aware of all this foolishness and all this sort of hypocrisy, but she chooses to be cheerful. This book definitely isn't as consciously cheerful as Jane Austen. Definitely has a darker side, but I thought there was some really good writing. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed this. I have another Persephone book. This one I'm just starting. It's A Writer's Diary, extracts from the diary of Virginia Woolf. I'm like only a couple pages into this, but these are extracts from Virginia Woolf's diary that are all about writing, all about books that she's been reading. Look at those beautiful end papers, isn't that pretty? I'm just really looking forward to exploring this more. Here's a friend of Virginia Woolf, E.M. Forster. I read A Room with a View recently. I really, really liked it. I talked about it more in my garden book tag. There were just so many good lines that made you pause and think, that made you laugh. In the garden book tag, I was talking about how there's this sort of absurdity and this seriousness side by side that make for kind of a interesting combination. I had so many quotations that I wanted to copy out of this. Every month I like to do a quote collection over on my blog, A Pinch of Pixie Dust, so I'll link that blog post down in the description if you want to see more quotations from all the different books I've been reading. But one of my absolute favorite ones that I thought I would read to you guys. So Lucy, the main character, has been disappointed, and here's what she says. "What a weathercock Sir Harry is," said Lucy quietly. "I wish I had never bothered over it at all." Then she lay on her back and gazed at the cloudless sky. Mr. Beebe, whose opinion of her rose daily, whispered to his niece that that was the proper way to behave if any little thing went wrong. So just, oh my gosh, such a delight. Another huge delight was this book, The Blue Castle by Ellen Montgomery. Of course, this is the author of Anne of Green Gables and Emily of New Moon. Now, this is actually, I think, an adult novel. Many of Ellen Montgomery's books were for children, and it definitely has a similar flavor to Anne of Green Gables and Emily of New Moon. The premise is that Valancy Sterling has lived her whole life kind of dominated by her family. She's, gosh, 28, 29. She kind of feels like she's on the shelf. She feels unwanted. And then she gets this kind of life-shattering news, and she decides that everything needs to change. She's just gonna live the way she wants and do what she wants, and all of her adventures kind of take off from there. I love Valancy's spirit. She's just, you know, she's got that spunk that Ellen Montgomery characters have. I actually read this as a buddy read with Kate Howe, with Kate from the novel Nomad, and with Katie from Life Between Words. I'll link all of their channels in the description below. They're all such fantastic ladies. I love their channels so much, and it was so fun to hear their thoughts. We all across the board just adored this book. There were some really beautiful whimsical passages like describing nature and describing the scenery. Ellen Montgomery's books always make me want to go to Canada. Like, I really want to go to Prince Edward Island, and now I really want to go to Mistawis, I think is how it's pronounced. This is set in a slightly different area of Canada, but it sounds absolutely beautiful too. I love the characters. I loved the way the story unfolded. I felt like there were some things that you could totally see coming and other things that you didn't see coming at all. So yeah, definitely can't recommend this enough. Because of The Blue Castle, I want to go to Canada, and because of this next book, I want to go to Portugal. This book is called The Language of the Heart. It's by Elizabeth Cadell. I read it as an ebook. I really love Elizabeth Cadell's books and her style. Many of her novels take place in England. This one took place in England and in Portugal, and it had a kind of Mr. Darcy hero who's very buttoned up, and a very outspoken heroine, and an evil Miss Bingley type. It's funny, the first half of this I really liked, and then the second half I felt like it kind of lost a little bit of steam. Like, it didn't maybe finish as strong as it started, but it still was really good. If you haven't checked out Elizabeth Cadell, I would definitely recommend her. This next author is another kind of just cozy British favorite of mine, D. Stevenson. This book is called Summerhills. This is actually the sequel to a book called Amberwell. It's been a while since I read Amberwell. I didn't remember it perfectly, but if you've never read Amberwell, you should probably read Amberwell before you read Summerhills, because there are definitely like some twists in Amberwell that you'll be spoiled by if you just go straight to Summerhills. I did really enjoy this. It was fun to see the characters and see what happened to them and see how they developed. Stevenson is just a really good writer. I like her style and I like her all of her characters. So going from Summerhills into space, next I have a quite different book. This is Star Wars Catalyst, a Rogue One novel. I definitely enjoy science fiction. I hadn't read any in a while, so picking this up was just kind of refreshing, because science fiction is definitely a very different flavor from what I usually read. Like, it's very exciting, it's very action-packed, it's very imaginative, you know, it's full of exotic aliens and these, you know, intrigues in the government of the Republic and the Separatists. This tells the backstory of Rogue One. So we see Galen Erso and Lyra Erso, we see a baby Jin, we see Orson Krennic, we see Tarkin. It's not perfect. I feel like there are a couple things where I'm like, that's not very well explained, or oh, what about this? But by and large, I really am enjoying it. It's so cool to see all these characters. I mean, let's be real, you're probably only gonna wanna read this if you're a Star Wars fan, but if you're a Star Wars fan, you're really gonna enjoy it. I love seeing Krennic and Galen and like seeing how their friendship developed, and like there are these like tiny little seeds of goodness in Krennic that like makes it more believable that Galen would have been his friend. You know, that Galen could have kind of gotten sucked into working on the Death Star, which obviously he didn't really want to do and tried to get away from. It's also cool just to imagine what like Krennic and Tarkin were doing in like the last days of the Republic. So this is basically like the end of episode 3 before the Emperor showed his true colors. Just 2 more books. I don't have them with me. One of them was Alex and Eliza. I'm very tempted to go off into some Hamilton songs here because of course Alex is Alexander Hamilton and Eliza is Elizabeth Schuyler, his wife. So this is a teen romance. It's told mostly from Eliza's perspective, so you really get to know the Schuyler family better. It's definitely a very different flavor from the Hamilton musical. Like, the characters are interpreted in a little bit different ways, which is kind of fun. But you know, I have to admit, I kind of skimmed this. You know, it's a teen romance. If you like teen romances, you'll probably really like it. If you don't like teen romances, you probably won't so much like it. I'm not typically a teen romance person. I definitely mostly picked this up because I'm a Hamilton fan. But you know, for what it is, it was a fun read. I enjoyed it. And it never got too like, sometimes the stuff in the teen romance section surprises me, because like you see these moms with their like 12 or 13-year-old girls and they're trying to encourage their daughter to read, so they're like, oh, pick out a book, but it's like, no, be careful, because oh my gosh, some of the stuff in there like belongs in the actual romance section, and like it should have, like it's not just PG, it might like be X rated. So yeah, if that's a concern for you, especially if you have a young daughter, really anything that's coming out of the teen section, you should look up a review of it first, just to know what you're getting yourself into. All things considered, this was fairly tame. Yeah, anyway. I also this month was dipping into Alexander Hamilton, the biography by Ron Chernow. Now this is kind of like the Edith Wharton letters, where I read it a while ago, but like I feel like I kind of skipped sections. Like I love the Hamilton musical, so I'd be like, oh, I'm really curious about the history behind this song, so I would like then go read that, and it was like not always in order. See, this is the problem. I always feel kind of bad in my booktube videos. Like if I'm reading something like in November and then I'm mentioning it again in May, it's like, well, why didn't you just finish it in 1 month? But I don't know. I sometimes think it's fun to let yourself take your time with a book, even if it's months and months, because sometimes you're able to pay better attention and different things stand out to you. If you're a Hamilton fan, reading the biography is just such a treat, because you can totally see the things that inspired Lin-Manuel Miranda to like write the songs. Like it feels like you're reading it alongside Lin-Manuel Miranda, and you can be like, oh, yep, that line definitely inspired this song, or oh, yep, he definitely picked that out. The whole Hamilton phenomenon is just so cool, so inspiring, so awesome to me. Like, first of all, you have the Alexander Hamilton biography by Ron Chernow, which is amazing. It's wonderfully written. It's so engaging. Even if I wasn't a fan of the Hamilton musical, I would still be pulled in by this biography. It is so well researched. It brings the story to life, and yet it always gives you like the source. It always tells you where he's getting his information from. It's a just exceptionally good biography. And then you have Lin-Manuel Miranda, who reads it on vacation, and he takes it and he turns it into this brand new thing. And I just think that's the best the best thing that can possibly come out of reading, you know? He didn't just passively read that book. He made something out of his reading experience of that book. And the book itself was so well written in the first place and so captivating that it inspired him to do that. So I just think that's so cool. It's like, that's the kind of reader I want to be, you know? Anyway, I was listening to the Hamilton soundtrack, as I always am, and one of the songs, we were talking about it in my family, and so I pull up the biography again, and of course, I can't just read one page of it. As soon as you read one page of it, it's like you end up reading a couple chapters. I was just really enjoying revisiting that. It's such a cool history. It really completely brings the American Revolution to life, and that's always been one of my favorite time periods. Like, ever since I got the Felicity Merriman American Girl doll when I was like 8 years old, I've loved the American Revolution. So anyway, I've rambled on for long enough. That's my reading month. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm gonna link the books down in the description below. Let me know if you've been reading anything really great this month. I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. If you enjoy bookish videos and you're not subscribed yet, definitely make sure to hit that button. Guys, I hope you're having a great day and a magical day. I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye, guys.